let's rock, dude. So you said you took notes. I took notes. I liked the episode. I was annoyed by several things, but generally enjoyed it overall.
It kind of ended a lot better, and
some of it started rough.
Dumb things that I came across. Well, like, this is a nitpicky thing, but a lot of bad lens flare in this episode.
A little too much JJ effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, lens flare's cool. It hides things.
I was wondering, do you want to talk about some of the theories that have come across that maybe we can wipe away now?
Before getting into it? Sure.
A little both.
Are these are just ones that are like, are they debunked in this episode, or?
I feel like.
Or previous episodes?
Yeah, especially from the last one, where there was one theory going around that Picard was a changeling.
Oh, okay, yeah. You wanted to address that. Please do.
I think that's debunked, because I think the changeling can be like, I don't even know how many there are at this point.
Why would the changelings replace Picard? I don't know. That just didn't make any sense to me as soon as you mentioned it.
Yeah, I've heard that one kicking around. I didn't buy it. There's another one where I heard where the whole fight on the bridge between Riker and Picard was a ruse. And it was like some strategy, but now it appears that it wasn't, because looks like Riker is...
Here's the thing. My first note I have about Riker down here is sad Riker. And then a little bit later, I noted, all right, and excuse the language, I'm sorry, but I had Riker as a pussy. And then right after that, I wrote, oh, wait, this is All Good Things Riker. And so it's literally Jonathan Frakes is like, I'm playing All Good Things Riker from the episode All Good Things, where I was mad at Worf and Deanna was dead and I was all angry. And as soon as I had that realization that he's just playing All Good Things Riker, I was like, okay. Because
Isn't All Good Things Riker, like, not technically real, because it was a little paradoxical.
Well, it was one possibility in the future, and I just see this as Riker being like, oh, see, it's in the future, and I'm sad, grumpy old man Riker. Oh, everything's wrong. My son is dead. I goofed everything up. And so I think that he was like, how am I going to play old man Riker? I'll play him like he was in All Good Things. I've got the gray hair. I literally think he's literally just channeling All Good Things Riker, which I guess, okay. But, generally I was just, man, he's a mopey Riker or a sad Riker.
I didn't like it.
He redeemed himself by the end, mostly, I guess. I don't know. I didn't like the fight between him and Picard, and I didn't like it during the recap either. It made me, I turned it on, and I started the episode. I was watching with my pops tonight, and it started. My dad's like, isn't this last? Oh, it's a recap. And then by the end of the recap, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that's how it ended. Now I'm angry.
I wrote, for my note on that scenario, the whole thing, I wrote Riker just giving up, ? What's behind it? And something's up with Riker. Like, but it's so weird that.
Well, let's go through some of these notes in sequence here, because if you're ready, any other theories you wanted to debunk from prior episodes?
No, I put maybe Riker as a changeling because of how he...
Right, he wasn't acting like good old Riker.
But it seems like the changeling switches every time.
So I guess, like, right after the recap, we jumped into, like, a flashback with a restaurant scene, and Picard retelling stories and being mobbed by these horrible young people that have no respect for any human beings ever. Like, do they not have parents that are like, hey, you shouldn't bother people while they're eating? You know what I mean? It's just such a weird setup and everything. And I was really, and I get it, because we will get to where this whole scene goes, and I get it now, and blah, blah, blah. That said, those cadets were quite annoying.
I had a thought on that one too, because Well, like the whole series, I know we don't talk about 1 and 2, but if you go back to 1 and 2, the only difference, the whole time was to diminish Picard and his accomplishments and be like, you're an idiot, Picard, you're just a dumb old man. And then this one has just been like, every time someone talks to Picard, they're just kind of like all over.
Oh, he's a legend. He's a legend. Yeah, they got it.
I thought Picard, I wrote down Picard fought the Herodian.
Dude, that's exactly literally as a sub-note on the flashback, I wrote Herodian ? Worf ? Janeway? None of this makes any sense. Did he say Lieutenant Worf? I haven't gone back to look yet, but I could have sworn he said Lieutenant Worf. Hey, I'm like, dude, none of this makes any sense. I think Picard's positronic net lost the circuit because none of that made. I was like, wait. And so I didn't pause it or anything like that, but I definitely feel like maybe I should go back and rewatch that because I was like, did he just say the Herodian? Aren't those like Janeway aliens? And then he like mentions Worf and Janeway, and I'm like, so wait, if he is fighting the Herodian or having diplomacies with them, so that's after Janeway gets back, why is Worf with him? Did he say Lieutenant Worf? Well, why is it Lieutenant Worf? Even if it said Commander. I know, that's exactly, so none of the timeline on that matches up. And we're literally on my second line of notes here, so I don't know how much we want to spend on that, but I caught that.
And assume too, like, does that mean the Herodian have made it to the Alpha?
Well, they had their network touching the Beta Quadrant for sure, and with an edge on the Alpha Quadrant because that's how they were able to do message in the bottle. Their communication network. And that wasn't necessary, they didn't necessarily build it, but they had taken over that and had basically, they were identifying it as their network during that episode. So I imagine that with transwarp and instantaneous beaming that yes, it's possible the Federations had to deal with the Herodian on a diplomatic level. But again, the whole Worf thing derails that. So why are they mentioning Worf? If it was Janeway and like Ensign so-and-so or like any other character, but the characters that we aren't supposed to be there at that point. Anyways, do you want to move on?
Real quick.
Okay.
It just seems like one of those dumb little references that these writers will throw in to be like, oh, so you watch the show.
They have a wheel in the writer's room and they're like, all right, I need an alien. Spin it. Herodian. Oh, it's the Herodian that he had diplomacies with, and it was Lieutenant Worf that saved them. And underneath the Herodians, it has a little sub-note that says Janeway alien, so like Janeway helped too. We literally just recreated the writer's room for that scene. Congratulations. It's kind of sad. All right, look, man, come on, man. Let's move past this. Because, 99% of the people watching this are probably just like, whoa, Worf and Picard and Janeway were together with, whoa, cool. My next note was shining in the nebula, white light. That's going to have something to do with it, which it does. You have anything about that right now? Just keep moving on.
I basically all just said sinking into.
Yeah, actually it says my note is sinking into the nebula, white light. So, dude, my note is Picard and Riker, sad Riker. Yeah, dude, everything's sad. And then I have a question mark title card. Like, what? Like, this is the intro? How long is this thing? Like 8 minutes before we got the title card at least?
I don't even know why they bother doing a title.
I don't know why they do a title card too. Oh, check it out. Leo tuned in and is watching. We actually do have a live viewer. We've had 4 live viewers so far, actually. So that's cool. I had one person's actually left a comment. So thanks for tuning in, whoever's watching. A wave. Yeah, I'll take it too. All right. So yeah, title card is where we're at.
So, and then So everyone's all sad and freaking out. I want to say like the Shaw and Seven banter is quite awesome.
So my note was 7 dash because it cuts back and she's searching for the changeling, and I'm like, man, why aren't you doing a phaser sweep? Because they probably don't have the effects budget for it, but she should be going in there and doing a phaser sweep. She's like opening stuff. Well, it's back to Cisco days, so that should be number 1 implementation, where she's walking into a room looking for changelings is like, boop, 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 bzzz. Nope, no changelings in here. Let me check the closet. Bzzz. Because, as we know, changelings can be furniture, etc. So she did. She found the dead body, the poor transporter chief. I feel like we've seen that guy in a couple episodes. You know, they were like, oh, you know, we had to pay him for a couple. Might as well make him a minor character before we off him. You know, they broke normal convention, made it a orange shirt instead of a, you know, the green shirt, you know, or the gold instead of the...
Is he the chief engineer? Because later on, they don't have a chief engineer, which would come in very handy. Is he the chief engineer?
They identified him as their transporter chief.
Okay.
Some...
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I like their back and forth over a few people.
Yeah, and then and Shaw, is that, I think he tells her to, or no, because she's talking to Riker, and he tells her to keep it quiet. We get a little of Picard and Crusher, but Jack Crusher, you know, right, talking in sickbay, and then it's Seven and Shaw. And I'm with you. I actually really liked it. I like Shaw a lot. I kind of keep rooting for him when they like took him down later in the episode to do the cells. I was like, please don't kill Shaw. And then he like foreshadowed it, and I was like, okay, he's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
But Riker starts recording a message, and my question is that really an essential use of power, Riker? Because didn't he just shut down all the essential powers? I know, because the next note is holodeck essential, gigantic question marks everywhere, and then the little subnote is exclamation so dumb, Moriarty foreshadowing. Is this how we're gonna? What are we gonna do with Moriarty? Too much holodeck. There's already with this, and then knowing where there's Moriarty at some point. There's too much holodeck in this season for me already. I'm sorry.
I mean, agreed. And the explanation was an independent power source because
so that everybody can go there to die.
Yeah. When the crew is sad, they can call up and go have fun.
Can orgy party out to death while they suffocate? I know. Come on, bro, dude.
Independent. Then you should take all that.
I was like, why don't you have the independent power and transfer that over to like the system so that you can get a little boost to get going? And then, come on. There's even Picard even mentions having to transfer power in the shuttle to be able to do their maneuver. I'm like, why aren't you transferring holodeck power already? There's enough power in there for you motherfuckers to be drinking fake fake photon booze, and like hanging out.
The whole point of Starfleet is to like go down with the bitter end. You don't like just wait around to die.
Who are all these officers? Like, oh, I'm gonna go down, sorry, like crying, my friends dying, guys.
You play out the scenario till there's nothing left, and then you blow up the ship.
You're just like, hey guys, it sucks. We're Starfleet though. This is like why we went to the Academy. We knew that we were going into deep space, and sometimes starships like everybody dies. It's unfortunate, but no. Everybody's like, I'm gonna go cry in the holodeck with my homies and get fake drunk. Yeah. So yeah, my explanation so dumb. My next note though was cannabis. Shaw likes. Because he just made a little comment, but me, I was like, oh, okay, I approve.
But I was like, where's Raffi when you need her? She'll be like, oh,
Raffi, dude, Raffi can't handle it. Cannabis is nothing for Raffi. Raffi needs the real stuff. She'd be like, you got any of that eye meth?
Not what? You have a seemed like one ready to go.
You're right.
But then we jumped to I wrote WTF is the changeling shit inside that chick.
I wrote evil changeling. So you'll have to remind me. Changeling inside of chick? Oh, is it just... Oh, okay, yeah. So she's a changeling. I'm like, that's her weird communication. I was like, it's weird to, like, it's a weird excuse to bring some, like, body torture and body horror elements into Star Trek. But whatever. All right, you're going to do that. Yeah, she's a changeling. That's why I assumed that meant. I don't know, she cut her hand off and it turned into a floating communication head that gave her orders to go kill herself.
That was weird.
She didn't want to, but... So it sounds like it's this weird sect of the changelings. I don't know. I want to know more. I like the changelings as bad guys again. So if they're not part of the Great Link, they're, you know... I don't know, man. Whatever.
Maybe Odo like exiled them from the Great Link or something.
Maybe.
No, because he's technically still around. It sounds like in this universe. The actor has sadly passed away, but
Right, yeah, he's still there. He's working with Worf. He gave him the heads up.
So I don't know. That was a bizarre scene. My friend, we were talking back and forth about it, and said that villain has like Snoke vibes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm like, what is this? And then the voice was like all super menacing. I thought that was overkill.
Why don't you go look for yourself? Now, whatever. It's an evil voice, bro. I'm okay with evil voice. I'm okay with evil, shapeless, changeling voice.
Yeah, but the main changeling villain in DS9 was like scary as hell, and she wasn't even. You know.
Yeah. Well, my next note was they do another flashback. This time it was Picard and Jack Crusher, and I guess that's when he's telling stories. I don't think that's when he reveals that Crusher was there, right? I think it's just him telling more stories, like telling the cadets about the most harrowing situation I was ever in with Jack Crusher, and he saved me in my shuttle when we were up to no good. Oh, stealing shuttles again. Oh, I'm always stealing shuttles. Oh.
Yeah. And then Jack Crusher told his story, and
that was later on. When he's like, when it reveals he's like, he was at the bar too.
Is that a different scene?
That was like later on, but yeah, we can talk about that. I was like, oh, these cadets are annoying, but when it revealed that, I was like, okay, so Jack did try and meet his dad, and Picard was like, oh, Starfleet's the only family I need. But yeah, we'll get to it. All right, so my note next is 7 found the changeling pretty easy. Yeah. She's just walking down the hall, and she's like, oh man, I gotta go scan this. Was she walking down all the halls, and as soon as she saw anybody, she's like, yo, Biolab, I need to scan this as real quick. Because that's the only way that makes sense that it actually works. Because otherwise, it's quite the contrivance. That she just is like, I mean, the guy's like, oh, let me just kill that one. Now, I think that's the first so we've now had 2 confirmed kills, but neither of them are Picard or Riker's fault because the changeling was already there. So you see how they've written it, so there's no weight to those deaths falling on our legends for taking over the ship, right? So that's intentional for sure. They don't want those, they don't want that kind of to hang on those guys. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be worth it then. But so yeah, I guess 3 deaths because the changeling probably killed whoever he was impersonating too.
Yeah, that was I mean the
transporter guy, the chick he shoots who's walking in front of him, and then the person he was impersonating. So that's 3 down. Yeah.
At least.
Yep. And so, but I like the fight. I like the little shootout, and the changeling effect of it getting away was better and closer to classic effects than it has been. They're still staying away from a lot of the morphing, though, that we would have seen in Deep Space Nine. They can't do it right. I don't think.
Why did she just watch it slide away?
I would have been like shooting
Cause like she shot him, and then the guy like fell against the bulkhead. She could just blast.
I don't know.
You need sample.
Story reasons. So the next note I had, whatever.
More.
I don't know. I think there might be, because it seems like they need more threats to continue on. We'll see. The next note was Jack and Picard, Picard's namesake, and Picard's F-bomb. Ooh.
About that too, I'm like, this is dumb.
I liked that they addressed it, because both you and I have previously been like, why the hell is Beverly naming her son, Picard's son, after her ex-husband? That's weird. And okay, Picard's like, I would have named you after Jack too. Okay, cool, fine. I'm glad that at least they addressed it. Okay, you know. And like I said, my note is, oh, cool, Picard dropped an F-bomb. Ooh. He's not very good at dropping F-bombs, Patrick Stewart. It wasn't natural. It definitely sound out of place. I'm sorry.
And that scene, that when Jack is like telling his story, like Picard goes into some fugue state, and like Jack's story like trails off. That was bizarre.
Yeah, well, it's because I didn't even make a note of it, but my editor's side was like, oh, I was like going to write the note. God, they couldn't even write a story for Jack, so they just faded out. That was gonna be my editor's note, was how lazy are they that they can't even give him one interesting story for 1 second. So I'll put, that's my comment there. And then Shaw shows up all fucking crazy, shell-shocked, like, what? I liked it. Shaw going overboard. He had, fair enough. That was a pretty intense experience. Now, for me, as someone who already saw Picard and Sisko go back and forth, I don't need that again. But I guarantee you there are a lot of people that never saw that episode and that have never seen the interaction of Sisko and Picard. And so, while it's old hat to us, I imagine that could be interesting to a lot of new people. And at least it was different. Shaw's like not the captain of the ship. He was just in engineering, and he got into a really crappy situation now. Questions like, Starfleet's usually supposed to have lifeboats. Okay, the Borg zapped a whole bunch, whatever. Overall, he was a little over dramatic, but I get it. And for the most part, it was an interesting development I was not expecting, honestly.
I liked the concept, but I had one major problem with it. This goes back to the theme of all these new Star Trek shows again, where captains are not professional anymore, and the entire command structure is a complete and utter shit show.
Like, he should have dropped that, like, in the ready room.
When Riker and Picard come on board the first time, he should have dropped it there.
When private.
Not in private, not in front of your
dying crew who are all there. Yeah, they're all in the holodeck like, oh, we're gonna die. And then your captain comes in. He did know that. He was like, I'm sorry. I don't remember what he said, but at some point I replaced charm with whatever. I don't know. But, you know, it was over the top, and you're right. It was not appropriate for a captain, you know.
Well, but do you feel like the captains on new Star Trek are all just unprofessional now?
Well, I think that a lot of them have been written to be disliked intentionally. Star Trek Discovery, what was Lorca? He's the bad guy, and definitely written to be disliked. And frequently, like, we've had Star Trek captains are, you can't do this, and they've had to fight against Section 31 has been done to death. So we've seen a lot of bad Starfleet for a while now, and I don't think any classic of the characters fans really like bad Starfleet. I know I'm sick of bad Starfleet. I like Section 31 in doses. I like the Section 31 episodes in Deep Space Nine, but there's like 3 of them. It's not the entire like crux of focus of of 2 or 3 seasons of a series. You know what I mean? And it was supposed to be like really out of the way, whereas like in recently Section 31's like, oh, we got all, like armies of ships and like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's over, the evil Starfleet is over the top, and I think we've talked about that before. It doesn't do anything for me. My next, I was going to say, yeah, continue, please.
And then just kind of the same theme throughout. So I wrote down, everyone is giving up, what the hell? And then, what happened to exhausting every option until it fails? And then when Picard was talking about the thing with the shuttlecraft, I'm like, well, that's what they're going to do.
With the energy transfer or whatever, or shuttles,
Yeah.
or I was waiting for it. And here's the thing: my notes go from Shaw survived Wolf 359 to Dr. Crusher dash energy waves dash contractions. So it was fairly quick that they moved from that into, all right, well, what is this? And I was like, it's obviously going to have something. I was thinking, and I think we may even said in the last episode that the nebula is alive because they said the biosigns and this and that, and they're, you know what I mean? It's been hinted at, so it's not a big surprise. My next note is the Riker is a pussy, and then the sub dash, it's Riker from All Good Things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Riker on the bridge, and he's like telling everybody, you know, oh, we gotta, you know, pull to do this together. And the rest of my notes on this section here are just crazy because shit happened real quick. It says Seven and Picard go to Shaw, then we're in the med bay, and then Seven to Riker, and then it's time for everybody to go, and Picard is on the con. And so real quick, within a very short period, we went from everybody giving up and Shaw telling Picard his horror story, and then Jack leaving with Picard, to them going and like talking to Beverly, and then it just kind of steamrolled into like, let's get out of here. And then my next note is, thank God Seven saved Shaw. And that was actually good. And there was actually, because they foreshadowed it like TV writers do, which, so we knew it was coming. Oh, surprise. You know, and all this. So it's not really surprise. But what they did that was a little bit more clever was they used LaForge, because they had that element between her and Seven previously where she had refused orders and come down to talk to her. You know what I mean? But as an audience, it also didn't work, because why would they ever send LaForge from the con in the middle of navigating? And so it set it up as an interesting little ploy, because there is a little bit of like, well, LaForge has like come down and like checked and stuff, but she wouldn't leave the con. So I think as the viewer, it's not really there. But overall, it was a good scene, I thought, and I'm glad that Seven saved Shaw, and I like the effects. I like seeing the outside of a ship with the action matching, and I like seeing the nacelles and the little details like that we didn't ever get with the classic shows, because it would have cost too much to do that kind of stuff. We didn't get that stuff until Voyager. Voyager's the first show that really kind of showed us a lot of the external little gimmicky things, like the deploying of the landing gears, or when they would land. And it was minimal on Voyager, but they did it because they did use computer graphics. Whereas like Enterprise definitely did it with the hooks and the grapplers and everything, you know, and the torpedoes. Enterprise, because it was CG, did a lot more on the exterior shots. And so actually seeing some more modern Federation from the eras I like, seeing those ships with those details and that action is really cool to me. That's something I really do like. You know what I mean? My note on this section is actually nice escape. I like this scene. I thought it was well done. It's classic kind of, yeah, you know, I liked it.
I wrote from this whole section, my note was, who the hell is actually in control of this ship? Because you've got two captains running around, like giving separate orders, and then you have like the villain captain putting Picard in charge, and then you have the real captain doing other. I'm like, actually running this.
Well, it's getting done, Tom. Things are getting done.
I know, but it's just like,
I like how they actually, I was thinking the same thing. Like, why isn't Shaw's up and around? Why isn't he around? And I like that they tied his Saab 359 story. We should just call Wolf 359 Saab 359 from now on, because everybody's sad. But his story, I like how they tied that into an explanation for why they needed him elsewhere. Because I think they say, all of these new kids won't know how to dismantle some 20-year-old ship. And so I'm like, the Titan's not that old, but whatever. Okay, cool. I liked it.
Recent new ship though,
and it's super refitted, but whatever. We'll roll with it, and it doesn't look like it. And whatever. Okay.
The captain, when they get out, when they're like,
everything's done, it's got to go back to Shaw, right? All right, it goes life support down. So here's the thing. Oh no, life support's down. They're all like, and here's the thing. I won't even mention, but they all do gasp like, oh, when the power comes back up, right? So when it turned off, they all instantly couldn't breathe anymore. They don't have any oxygen that they can breathe in the cabins that they're all in for at least a minute. But that's writing for you. Oh, it's off. They're all dead now. You know what I mean? So that was a note I made.
wow.
And then my next note is Riker bowls a strike. And that was awesome. And I'm totally okay with him grabbing onto an asteroid with the tractor beam and cutting it, because he did actually cut it and maneuver, and it looked awesome. I'm sorry, but I like that. I did like that. And that was very much Riker. That was a totally Riker thing to do. Oh yeah, I'll just grab that fucking rock and throw it right there. Perfect.
Well, it was kind of poetic justice, because remember they threw the Shrike through Troy, the Crusher's ship
at them. Yeah, and that's why I was like, dude, it's Riker adjusting the tactic. You know what I mean? And for me, that was almost like the moment real Riker returned. And I feel like it's almost even written like that, because that was a really good Riker scene. And then he comes back, and the next note is Nebula births a bunch of babies, the little jellyfish babies. And I was wondering if they were gonna just warp and splatter them all. And they took the time to show them coming out of the cloud before going to warp. So very nice of them. They actually did show the transition out. Now, what's going to happen when the Shriek gets power in an hour and is like, what the hell is all this? Ugh, poor baby. Yeah. Are we going to see that warp away? Splat.
Or the babies are going to rip this Shrike apart.
Dude. All right, so real quick before we get in my last couple notes here, TK, Thorn Killer, did say, I don't know, an evil voice after chopping your hand off and getting orders just sounds bizarre as F. And then he followed that up with, when it came to swearing, didn't Patrick Stewart actually become opposed to swearing at first until he was convinced that the word is changing or something? I don't know, I haven't seen that interview. But it wouldn't surprise me. Oh, it's more common vernacular now, which is fine too, because I'll be honest, man, with my son growing up, my ex and I, we were always ran blue streaks, and we never censored each other. And we just told him dude, cussing is gonna offend some people, and you shouldn't do it in front of people. And we drop a lot of foul words that might offend people in just our normal everyday conversation. You know what I mean? In casual conversation. And thankfully, my son is actually fairly respectful. Doesn't drop a lot of F-bombs, at least not when I'm around. I'm sure he's terrible online. But yeah, so I can see an interview from Patrick Stewart saying something like that. Now is we get a flash.
English.
Oh, I'm French, but I speak with an English accent. Yeah. Flashback, and then a dash. Jack was there, so that's our last flashback. I actually, to me, I thought it was a kind of an interesting twist, and if that had been the only time that we got them, now that they're together and they can resolve it, I'm okay with it. But if that had been left like that for a while, I would have been very upset and unhappy about it. But Jack is like an idiot. He's 15 years old or whatever at that point, or 18 or whatever. He should have, I don't know. It wasn't the best scene. It wasn't the worst scene. I thought it made the flashbacks more interesting.
I've got a point on that.
because he did get to hear all these cool stories about his dad. And you got to see the perspective of all these people worshiping him. So that there was like, he was exposed to that in some level. So I don't know.
The whole point of that is Jean-Luc Picard had no idea this person existed.
No.
So how would he know that's his son? And his son didn't know that Picard didn't know he existed.
Well, I think he did know that he didn't know. I think Jack knew that Picard had no idea he existed.
Then why'd he get all upset?
Well, because he was sad. He went to go meet his dad, and his dad's like, I don't need any family. I just have Starfleet. And his like,
why are we still blaming Picard for not knowing his son existed?
Dude, I know. See, I'm going to say, all of this is just Crusher is bad, because all of this negativity between father and son for 20 years and never knowing each other was a weird decision by Crusher. It's a weird decision. She made her decision and explained it, and it's weird and dumb, and I don't get it, and I don't like it. Maybe the ladies are like, can totally relate to like being a room, but again, that doesn't seem like my Crusher. My Crusher seems like, yo, I'm Starfleet, yo. Like, she already lost her husband and her son, and she's still an officer. You know what I mean? She's like a lifer, you know? And so it doesn't ring true to me. And this all comes back to that. And it's like, for me, at least they're getting past it. And now Jack knows it's not Picard's fault that he wasn't around. He's not like, oh, you were never there for me. He could have been there for him. You know what I mean? Beverly told him to go meet him. And Beverly should have been like, here's your dad a long time ago. And it's really weird she didn't. I'll stop.
The way they're playing it makes it seem like Jack still harbors resentment against Picard for not knowing he existed, when how would he even know he existed? That just seems so...
Well, he did as a child, and I feel like when he was seeing it and Picard was realizing that he did come to meet him at the bar, because the scene after it, they're like having a moment, and it was well done. And so I would have been, or if he was still resentful as dad, I would, but there's the healing process is happening there, you know?
No, but the healing process...
It's all bad Beverly, bro. They ruined...
They're making it sound like... To me, they're making it feel like Jean-Luc was like neglecting Jack in this scene when he had no effing clue who this kid was.
Well, and it's...
Like he was spurned because Jean-Luc said this, and they made it sound like he said it to him in person because...
I think that I get that, but I don't think that scene did anything except make me more angry at Beverly and just be like, this, you could have avoided this. Next scene we had was Riker and Troy, which was, again, it's Riker coming back to his own. I don't like that he got all sad and mopey and emo, but whatever, at least he's like, oh, I had that moment and I'm back. I'm Riker again, yay. And Troy's happy.
If this is the only Troy we get, I'm fine with that.
I'm trying to... I feel like we've seen more of her in previews. Because what is she... We've seen the preview where she's like, I sense fear or something, right? What's the line you were making fun of?
Some bullshit.
So we haven't seen that yet, so I think we do have more Troy yet to come. My next note was Admiral's Log. Very great. A nice little rack up, and I'm like, oh, it kind of feels like the end of the series. We still got some episodes. I feel like there's still probably some changelings out there.
Retired Admiral's Log.
And then you get Jack sitting there, and you get that weird vein, which we've seen one other time. I think it was with him of having a flashback or scene or whatever. And then, like the Red Angel, there's the red door.
When he was in the, it was the last episode when he was in the ER, or the sick bay, and he was, dying.
So the changelings want him, and he's having some kind of weird flashes of what looks like a link or a changeling creepy vine thing, right? I think we can agree that's supposed to be like changeling goo, right?
I had someone, when I was texting, watching this episode with me, and say that, what if that's like the Red Angel?
Dude, I saw it and I said, my note is because I'm like, well, it's hearkening to the Red Angel. Obviously, I called it Jack's Red Door. Jack's got a red door. What's behind Jack's red door? What's inside the red door, Tom?
If they do a Discovery tie-in, I am hating the show for all.
Can I use googly eyes yet, or is this episode still regular eyes?
This is a regular-eyed one. It redeemed itself. There was some dumb.
In other words, it was pretty good. I liked it. I told my dad after watching, I was like, man, I actually enjoyed it. There's enough really Star Trek-y stuff in it. I like Shaw. I like Shaw a lot, actually. He's growing on me. You know?
I'm still unclear as to who was villain.
The Changelings.
Yeah, but why is she all like...
They need Jack Crusher. She's a Changeling. There's nothing else to know.
But I want to know, like, they gotta have like some breadcrumb.
We will. Hopefully, we find something and more than just rogue element of the Changelings. Why are the rogue element of the Changelings obsessed with Jack Crusher? Is it because he's related to Picard? Did they even know he was related to Picard? How would they even know that?
Picard.
So I feel like they're not after Jack because of Picard. I feel like they're after Jack because of Jack. And we're seeing that with his red door and his weird changeling goo flashbacks.
If you're gonna have a changeling like scenario, when was Picard or these people any involved with the changelings? Wouldn't like Kira be more involved with the changelings?
Yes.
Like, why were they going after Picard? Like, apparently during the Dominion War, the Enterprise just like dicking around. Like they weren't even.
Did you ever read the Dominion War novels?
Oh, they're not non-canon anyway.
Well, it's B canon, so yeah, they're not really canon, but they were okay. There was a 4-novel series, and I was actually like pretty hyped to read it because I was like, oh, the Enterprise. And if I remember correctly, it was like one book was like this Enterprise, and the next was the Defiant, and the next was the Enterprise, and the next was the Defiant, and with the crews respectively kind of interacting, you know. And if I remember correctly, it didn't really have much to do with the Dominion at all. They had, like, got trapped, and it didn't have anything to do with Jemadar. And but I think it's because they couldn't delve into actual like changeling canon at that time and stuff because the show was still on. But they were okay. I don't know. I like the changelings. I like enough about what we've been seeing, and the things that I don't like and haven't enjoyed, I'm like, well, it's not there compared to what they've already done to this series. It's nothing. So whatever.
We didn't get any rats.
Oh man, no Worf though.
But no Worf, I guess that's the trade-off.
Yeah, I'm happy that we didn't have Raffi, but I'm sad we didn't have Worf.
And we didn't ever hear Raffi whine about something.
I need more
sad.
More iMeth.
And then I'm like, so the next episode would presumably have to be like a full-on like Raffi Worf episode.
Maybe.
They have to or half and half with them. Because they gotta throw in lore at some point there, right?
I saw a video where someone was like, who is this? Lore? B4 question mark? So I don't know. But Geordi says it's lore. I think it's lore.
You think that the Shrike is carrying lore?
No.
Like we can't destroy the cargo.
Well, the cargo, I think, was that weapon that I don't know. And did they jettison something? I didn't see it. I may have to go back. But while we were watching and they turned around to go back, it looked like something flew at the camera. It's something totally, they like turned to fly around and something goes like this real fast and it looked like it had writing on it. And it was right after she had said, secure the gravity, whatever. And I'm wondering if that was supposed to be like them ejecting that gravity weapon or whatever. So maybe they don't have that at the moment because it was dangerous. And if that's the case, was that the cargo? Or is it lore? Or, yeah, I don't know where we're going to go with that. But I don't know. I actually, for being a little grumpy after the recap at the start of this episode, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I came around. The ending paid off for all the dumb, weird holodeck nonsense.
Yeah.
And the crew just giving up on life. And
Well, and Shaw being over dramatic and sad about Wolf 359, he pulled it back real quick by saving everybody by kicking butt in engineering with 7 and playing the role of like the patsy ready to get he was bait and he knew it. And he did good.
Do you think going forward, do you think we're done with the Titan now?
I don't know. No, I think that they spent so much money on the set for building the bridge of the Titan that we're on the Titan for the whole season. That's the main set.
I'm not
complaining either. I would be bummed out. They're like, all right, time to go into the shuttle. We're going off. And it's like, oh, we just left the ship? Oh, we're taking the runabout.
With how this series goes, they'd spend the next 6 episodes on Earth.
Dude, don't even jinx it, bro, man. That's not even funny to joke about. It's not funny to joke about.
This show does have a history of going down the hill really fast.
Usually on the turn of an episode, it's usually like that.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
But it's. I feel like overall, I mean, it's not the greatest, but I'm not as negative about this season as I thought I was.
No, I was prepared for it to be pretty bad, and it's actually been pretty good. And like I said, if we were getting this quality of Trek the whole time, I probably would have been enjoying it a lot more.
And we did have a comment I kind of wanted to respond to a little bit. It was.
I know I've been meaning to respond. I've been too busy at work. I promise to respond to comments more frequently. Sorry, guys.
I mean, it said this show sucks. It's nostalgia bait. Went off on this whole thing of Kurtzman, which I agree, Kurtzman sucks. And it is nostalgia bait, but the way they're doing it seems a lot more coherent than what they've done.
I think I told my dad, I was like, they're just throwing member berries at us. I'm kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. But I like my member berries. I'm enjoying all my Star Trek member berries. Dude, all right, here's the thing. We haven't had real proper Star Trek, in my opinion, since Voyager. Enterprise was a departure from and was going to the past. So we're going to show these mechanical things and it wasn't, you know what I mean? And now Enterprise, compared to what we've gotten in the preceding time, is Enterprise is actually pretty good, It's like Enterprise is Star Trek, But we haven't had the Star Trek I really like, the show that I fell in love with, the show that I paid money to watch since Voyager, bro. You know what I mean? We haven't had a Star Trek that I am dude, I'm gonna tune in every week. And honestly, I think with Picard, you and I even skipped an episode and came back and did a double after a few. And dude, I don't want to miss any, man. You hit me up tonight and you're like, dude, we're doing Star Trek. And I was like, it's Thursday? I was like, I thought it was Wednesday. I'm like, oh my God. I'm totally not prepared. But yes, I do want to do it. And no, I don't want to miss it, so.
I haven't felt that all the way in a long time either. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's great.
I'm not saying it excuses what we've had over the last decade.
It's pretty good.
For bad Star Trek, it's good. Yeah. It's at the top of the tier, by far. And it might even be edging into pretty good Star Trek territory. I like it, man.
Better than whatever Discovery is now, and then I don't care about Strange New Worlds.
I watched a couple episodes and then I haven't. I do like Star Trek Prodigy, all right, for a kid's show, which is cool because it can get kids into Star Trek, which will help build the future of the brand, which I like.
Kids watching it though, you think?
I watch a little bit with my niece, and so my niece is into Daniel Tiger. She's obsessed and she wants to go to the all time. I made her put a Star Trek episode on. The ship came in and went like that, and she goes, whoa. And then a second later, it comes back with the logo and goes, she's like, whoa. And then she's like, more Daniel Tiger. But she did go, whoa. So we have watched a little of that. I also like Lower Decks. I haven't finished watching it. I've only watched most of the first season. And I haven't watched all of Prodigy. It's funny, I told my guy at the comic shop, I was like, dude, because he's a big Star Trek fan. I've been buying comics from him for 30 years. He's been working on my comics. And we were talking, and, oh man, I totally lost my train of thought there. But what was it we were talking about? You pick up from it. I'm going to try and remember here for a second. Close it out with your final thoughts.
Like I said, I think it's decent. It's not great, but it's good. I'm excited to see where it goes. I want to see how Geordi comes back. I want to see Lorb come back. I want to see...
We have good things on the horizon, in other words.
I want to see if there's any more cameos. Like, are we going to get a Janeway cameo?
Right?
They've dropped her twice now.
Like, that counts. Now, here's the thing. I think Kate Mulgrew, I think she's probably not super, I don't know, she's like eager to reprise the role. She definitely did for Prodigy. She did all the voice acting. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, she doesn't have to appear, and I don't know how well Time has. I haven't seen recent pictures of her, but, you know, maybe Time hasn't been so kind. You know? So maybe there's that. I remember what I was going to say, I had mentioned to my comic guy if my buddy was watching Prodigy, and he said, oh yeah, I liked it, all right. And I was like, how? And somehow we got to the point where he had mentioned, he's like, oh yeah, it was like 8 episodes. And I was like, dude, it's like 18 or 20 episodes or 22 episodes. And he went back and he's like, oh, there's a lot more I didn't even know about. And so Prodigy is like a full like 22 episode season, I think. And I'm pretty sure they like end up syncing up with the Federation proper at the end of the season. So I'm going to continue to watch Prodigy. I'm going to finish up Lower Decks, and I'm going to enjoy the season 3 of Picard so far. I'm enjoying it, man. Give me more changelings. Give me more member berries, baby. I love Star Trek. I want more classic, good Star Trek. I'm sorry if that, you know, is whatever, but that's what I want, man.
At least we don't have no more Romulans with Picard. That count.
TK says he's not a big fan of Lower Decks. Which I know you're not a big fan of it either, right?
I only watched the one episode.
Maybe give it a shot sometime. It has some nice classic, like, TNG era, Voyager era, DS9 era, like, it actually does have some deep cuts to the old shows. So, but on that note, you want to wind her down?
I don't have anything else.
Yeah, either do I, man. I enjoy talking with you all the time. I enjoy watching some Star Trek. The plan is after Picard, hopefully we'll keep doing short treks where maybe we'll do some just classic episodes and talk about what we like. So in the meantime, I've got a bunch of videos I want to do. I actually have a awesome video from the captain, Star Trek 101 on 7 of 9, which we will be putting up. What, you want to do it tomorrow since we did this tonight?
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll put that up tomorrow, and I'll try and get a unboxing video done this week too. I just got a brand new camera. Check this out. I'll show this off real quick. I believe it is 4K, so it should give me a lot better camera feed on doing unboxings and openings. So I'm going to set that up tomorrow morning, and hopefully we'll do some Star Trek unboxings, because I got a stack. It is the Caesar. Yep, I've got 2 of them now. I'm a big fan.
I have one. I have the Halo webcam, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Cool.
And then my other channel, Everything Has History, is kind of going crazy right now.
Yeah, your shorts are blowing up.
Doing daily shorts, kind of a what on this day kind of thing. So yeah, check out Everything Has History.
Awesome. All right. Well, Tom, man, nice seeing you, bro. Good talking Star Trek. I'll see you. I'll talk to you soon here. We'll do another episode next week. Everybody tuned in, thanks for watching. TK, thanks for dropping some comments, man. Everybody, take it easy. Let's go to the outro.